Live. Sitting here with the heating pad on my shoulder. Shoulder's acting up a little bit today. That's okay. I just got back from the gym as usual. Let's see how to do this so I can lean back with the shoulder pad. Yeah. Or not shoulder pad, shoulder heating pad on my shoulder. I can't talk. Let's see how that works. Oh, that's good. That's real good. All right, so just got back from the gym, had an excellent leg workout today. As you can see, it is a little bit chilly here today, as it is everywhere. So I can't really complain because I'm in Florida and it is in the 30s today, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. Hello, everybody. Say hello in the chat. Introduce yourselves. And let's see, last time you saw me, if you were with me when I was live streaming, I was in the bathtub, which was, I have mixed feelings about it. It was nice because I like to take baths, but there were not enough bubbles, which was very disappointing. And the water was leaking out pretty fast, so I was sitting in almost an empty tub by the end, but it was okay. I'm probably gonna do that more often, honestly, because I need some motivation to take baths. And that was a good motivation. Hello to, oh gosh, Angela. I think that's how you say it. Are you a man or a woman? And MN, hello to you. I don't recognize your names. Are you guys new? Tell me in the chat. I did have, this doesn't happen to me every time at the gym, but a lot of times when I go, as I was leaving, this actually very attractive man, a little bit older than me, came up to me and said he was very impressed with my workouts, which I get a lot. I do a lot of handstands, pull-ups, and flexibility training at the gym, which people are not used to seeing at the gym, especially someone my size that can do a bunch of pull-ups. So people are often impressed with me and feel the need to say something, which I don't mind. I take it as a huge compliment. I'm doing well. How about yourself? Oh, KM says, I just stumbled into your live stream or into your life. I don't know if you meant life or live stream after watching one of my videos. And which video did you watch and what did you think? Tell me in the chat. Has anybody here seen the newest cop video? Because that is my favorite. And I'm probably going to make a couple more shorts out of it because I enjoy it so much. Hello to Omar, welcome. Welcome everybody. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. I'm in my fleece, nice and cozy and warm. Here's Steve, says, love the Lady Cop video and I look forward to more. Excellent. MN also enjoyed the Lady Cop video. I actually already have another one recorded because I have a sub who approached me on OF and he is into bondage and wanted to do some sessions where I instruct him to tie himself up and that kind of thing. And he really wanted some real handcuffs. So he paid for some real handcuffs and I made him a video. And we did quite a fun session yesterday. I posted in my IG story a little bit, some of the session that we did, because it was extremely entertaining and very enjoyable. Although I remembered just a few minutes ago that I totally forgot to put the handcuffs in the session, but that's okay. He'll be back for more. He enjoyed it. So he has some very interesting kinks that I'll share with you. If he's in the chat, let me know. MN is trying to get arrested by me. I'm happy to do that for you. Kaika, that's an inappropriate question. If you're asking stuff like that in my live stream, you will be banned from my channel, just so you know. Hello from Belgium. Killy, I think that's what it says. Killgun, that's what it says. Hello to you. I have met, oops. I didn't mean to do that. That was a mistake. I'm pushing random buttons here accidentally. I've met one person from Belgium. That's it. Only one person. Scott says he loved my cop video. Thank you for that. Arisu made it. Yes. I told Arisu if he was not in the live stream, he was going to face severe punishment. So, were you late? Because I didn't see you say hello. It's 4:06. Were you here on time? You tell me. BC says, do you do findom, miss? I could fund your next holiday for you, LOL. I don't know if you're new to my channel, but it pretty much says everywhere on my channel that yes, I am indeed a financial dominatrix, and therefore I do indeed do financial domination, findom, also known as findom, for those of you who are joining and don't know it, because we've got a pretty full room today. Hello from New Zealand. We have a Kiwi in the house. Ooh, SH, if you are saying rude things to other people in the comments, you will also be banned. I do not have patience for that. Do not say F to other people in the chat. Not nice. Oh, good question. Yes, give me any questions that you have in the chat. I'm getting a little warm with this heating pad on my shoulder, but it feels really good. It's very chilly. KM says, you are very knowledgeable about kink. Did you teach yourself, or at what age did this journey start? I'm glad you asked. That is a very appropriate question. So I have, what a weirdo. I have a whole video on how I became a dominatrix. I think it's for members only. I think you'll be a member to see this. Are you gonna suck that blanket, weirdo? Anyways, so I am actually very recently new to BDSM in general. I'll go into it a little bit real quick, but basically to answer your question, I have only been into BDSM, findom, all of that for almost exactly a year now. A little over a year is when I first heard about it and started teaching myself. And yes, I've taught myself everything that I know about BDSM. I do interview different submissives for the channel, and that really helps me get an understanding of where their kinks come from, why they have kinks, stuff like that. I just, for my professional career, a big part of my education was psychology and abnormal psychology. I've always been interested in the weird and twisted. That's just kind of how I am. I grew up reading a lot of Stephen King books, so that probably tells you a lot. I'll go into that in a little bit more too. So, I don't know if I can say that. Michael, S. Michael, says, good afternoon, goddess. I found your content a few days ago and noticed you were live when I logged on. I love the lady cop videos. It reminded me of the song, I Fought the Law and the Law Won. That's a great song. I fought the law and the law won. SH, where do I put my credit card info? I don't know what you're talking about. Where am I from? Originally, I'm from Illinois, but I've lived in many states. I am currently in Florida. Somebody just bought a membership, and MN just got a membership. Welcome to our club, the Goddess Fiore fan club, I guess, slave club, I guess you could say. BC says, I get paid about $3,000 per month. I could pay you $2,950 per month, leaving me $50 to live on each month. I don't mind eating cat food and dog food and having to suffer in poverty to make you happy. I shouldn't laugh, but that is funny. If you want to serve me, you can message me on any of my platforms. The links are in my bios. Not my bios, my bio. And you can message me on any of the platforms if you want to talk about that. But yes, I'm here to take your money. Okay, not sure about that. Woof woof. Mr. Jasek is in the house. Okay, Arusu says he was on time. He had to swap devices to access the chat. You're lucky, because if you were late, you don't want to know what happens. Oh, there's my cat. I have this cat who apparently I've lived in this place for like a year and a half, and apparently I don't know if it was the lady that lived in here before me or the one before that, but just like left the cat behind. So there's a cat that hangs around and some of the neighbors feed it, but It's been below freezing last night and tonight, so I've been trying to see if I can get the cat inside, but I'm glad to see he's alive at least. But poor thing's out there and it's so cold. I'm actually going to try to trap him and take him to the vet next week. Okay. I have no idea what that means. Wait, I missed it. It's because I want to. KM says, so at a younger age, you had no idea. I asked because I wonder why I am turning out to be a foot sub. Any idea what is wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with you. Please go see my video titled, I forget what it's titled, but it's about foot fetishes. Maybe it's like all about foot fetishes, or I don't know, something about foot fetishes. I talk about how it's actually very common, and where there's a lot of theories why people have foot fetishes. I go into all that in that video. So check out that video. Maybe it'll help answer some of your questions, but it's not as uncommon as you would think. And there's lots of fetishes within the foot fetish. So some people like bare feet, some people like boots, some people like heels, some people are into toes. I could go on and on. Socks. There's like so many different kinks within the foot fetish. I have a nice accent. I don't think I have an accent. Obviously, I don't have an accent to myself, but thank you, I guess. Although I think compared to a lot of other accents like English, French, whatever, I don't think the American accent is a very attractive one, but thank you. Yes, I like what Arusa said there. He says, there's nothing wrong with you. Enjoy what you enjoy. Yes. Brian says, I look so serious, because I am serious. I am very serious. When do we start training for that? Training for what? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm getting hot now. I might have to take the sweater off. Do you find that your experience here has made you more confident in everyday life about your powers over all men? Or are there few in public that you know you could drain? I'm not sure what part of your comment means. Do you find that your experience here has made you more confident in everyday life about your powers over all men? I've always been a pretty confident person, to be honest with you. I've been thinking about this subject a little bit in the last couple weeks, and maybe I mentioned it on one of the live streams, but I think one way to build confidence is to do things that you're scared of, because when you accomplish something that you're afraid of, it builds your confidence. So, and I mentioned this before, but I really enjoy doing things that I'm scared of, and I think that's one of the things that my confidence comes from. I've always been pretty comfortable with myself, more than I guess most people, I guess you could say. But I will say, in general, I do think findom in particular is very empowering for women, because it's about projecting yourself as someone who deserves money and to be spoiled from men, that type of thing. So in that aspect, I do think that it is very empowering. I have one friend in particular who's kind of thinking about doing it, because I do like to talk about it. It's something I really enjoy doing, and I find it very entertaining. So I've talked to, I'm very open with my family and friends what I do. And so I've told my friends, and I have one friend that's kind of thinking about doing it, and I really think she should, just not for the money aspect, but for changing the way that she sees herself. I think it would be really helpful, honestly. Are there men in public that I feel like I could drain? I do feel like I can tell when I'm out in public some men who are submissives. You can just tell by their posture, the way that they speak, their body language, that type of thing. So that's what I would say. I don't know what Rada is talking about. I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, you guys have a lot of good questions today. I'm going to circle back to the question that I think it was KM, asked about how I got into BDSM. And I will mention that I had a couple earlier experiences with BDSM before I knew what it was. The first one I can think of was when I've mentioned these a while back, but that's okay. When I first opened my pole dancing studio out in California, this was right after I opened it. Some of you know that I worked in clubs for a little while. This was before I worked in clubs, when I just did pole dancing as a workout and taught classes and stuff. I had just opened my pole studio, and I got an email from someone who it was so funny. This guy wanted, he was basically a submissive, and he wanted to do a private lesson where he could bring in his dom, and he wanted a bunch of women from my studio there to basically like humiliate him in a private lesson. And you know, like I said, I didn't know anything about BDSM, and it sounded very weird to me at the time, plus like being a new business, and I didn't want to be, I guess, like associated with like sketchy stuff, so I didn't respond to it. But now, being where I am now, it definitely sounds very entertaining. You're getting chunky, buddy. Yeah, we gotta put you on a diet, big time, chunky buddy. But yeah, so that was like one of my earliest, and obviously I know what it is now, that he was a submissive and he enjoyed humiliation. That's, you know, especially public humiliation, that type of thing. Very obvious now, but I didn't know anything about it then. So it was all foreign to me. And then while I had my studio, again, right after I opened it, I had a guy who was like a friend of a friend who was interested in learning pole. So I ended up teaching him some pole, and I choreographed a whole routine for him. At one point he wanted to film this video, and after we filmed it and they put the video together, it definitely had like a BDSM kind of theme to it. He even called me like Madame Voyeur in the video. And I mean, I had no idea they were going to be kind of adding that aspect to the video. So I wouldn't say I was mad, but I was just kind of like a little taken aback that they kind of projected me in that light, just because being the owner of a studio and, you know, where women want to feel comfortable coming in, it didn't really project the right image that I wanted. But at the same time, I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of like being projected as a very dominant, intimidating woman. So that was actually kind of fun. And then what really got me started with BDSM was, and I talk about this in the video that I mentioned is on my page, is that I was working in a club and there was a customer that would come in regularly, and he would tell me about these like parties that he went to, and that he was a submissive, and how this dominant woman kind of like trained him and stuff like that. So that's how I kind of got started thinking that I wanted to do it, to answer your question. MN says, what is most important rules for your maids? I have a whole video where I go in where I talk about rules for maids. Number one, I think, would be that they can present themselves in a graceful way. And number two would be that they do a good job actually cleaning. So does foot fetish always end in financial domination like it has for me? No, not necessarily. There's some people that totally have a foot fetish without having a kink for financial domination. It can be totally separate, for sure. It's very common in financial domination for whatever reason. Red Blue says, is that a leash, the white thing on your shoulder? No, this is a heating pad. I don't know who Brian's talking to. Okay, KM. KM has lots of good questions. Is findom your only job, or is it a second income filler? Good question. I don't know who this guy is talking to, but he's being kind of annoying, so he's getting blocked. Mr. Brian. Bye. I don't know who he's telling to STFU. It better not be me. Anyways, he's silenced. Nobody cares what he has to say anyways. KM says, is findom your only job? So I have a professional career I've had for almost 20 years now. And I'm still doing that part-time. Over the last few weeks, I've been cutting back my hours with that because I'm getting a lot more subs. And it's funny, you're asking a lot of these questions because at the end of each month, I add up all my income from findom. And last month, I did make more money than with my professional career, which is kind of sad because I have a master's degree and 20 years of experience. And 1 year doing financial domination, I make more money. But whatever. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm phasing out my professional career. My goal at this point is to day trade, because I also day trade, and do financial domination full time. KM says, thank you for your respectful answers. You're welcome. Tristan says he's been sick. Sorry to hear that. Steve says the 3-minute version of the J Consequences video is excellent. Will the full-length version be posted soon? No. So I can't post the full version on YouTube because of their guidelines. That one's only going to be posted on adult clip sites. And I'm waiting for Jay to get approved on the clip sites so that I can post it there. Hello to Tim. I'm just going through all the comments right now to get to the bottom. Snakes says, such a good puppy. You think that until you would if you would try to go pet him right now, he will bite your hand off. He looks cute, but he is vicious. I can tell you that. He's bitten me quite a few times too. He's good when he wants to be. He's very temperamental. Scott says, Goddess, I'm a runner too. Do you run in races like 5Ks? Oh, no. No. I mentioned in the last live stream that I enjoy running, but I am not good at it. I think I did a turkey trot one time. Does that count? But I'm a very slow runner. And I run and walk. I try to do at least a mile straight of running. Sometimes I'll do 2 miles straight running, and then it's kind of like running and sprinting and walking. So I enjoy running, just not great at it. Ronnie says, what is findom? Findom is financial domination. I'm a financial dominatrix. MN says, Officer Fiore is the most dominant cop in the world. KM says, KM, you have lots of good questions. Are you able to also have a normal relationship, or has findom set you in a different league? Meaning you can't go back to normal relationships. ONS, as findom is normal, or is findom normal for you? Very good question. So I have been a pole dancer for, I don't know, 17 years or so. And then like I said, I was a dancer in clubs for about 5 years or so. So for me, even just doing pole dancing as a workout has made relationships weird. I mean, unfortunately, people are very weird about pole dancing. Even if you are not a dancer, they assume that you are, which I wasn't for the first 10 years that I did it. And then I did work in clubs for a few years after that because it was my personal decision. I wanted to do it. Was not about the money, but so I've dealt with people judging me and being weird since I started pole dancing. So even before financial domination, I am who I am. I'm very open about what I do. I do have one friend in particular that I can think of that I don't really think likes to hear about my domination stuff. And I know my parents don't really like to hear about it anyways. I tell them a little bit, but I do try to limit how much I tell them because I know they're not too thrilled about it. But in general, I'm very open about what I do, and either you like me or you don't, and that's fine. So I'm a very independent person. I don't need to have, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have this need for people to like me. So if they I'm just going to be myself, and if they like me, great. If not, then that's fine too. Oops, I missed a couple here while I was running my mouth. And Joshua says, hello to you. KM says, I must say, listening to you live is bliss, and I'll probably contact you on X. Is it okay with you that if okay with you? Yes, that's fine. And by the way, what is your shoe size? Okay, does anybody remember this from last time? Did we do this question in the last couple live streams in my games? I think we did. I'm pretty sure we did. Does anybody remember what my shoe size is? Do they want to tell him? Let's see if I have any good students in the class today. And then I'm going to go answer another question here while we see if anybody remembers my shoe size. Good question, Ronnie. Ronnie says, so findom has no physical contact. It can or it can't. There are, I would say, from what I've seen, the majority of financial domination is done online. The majority of financial dominatrixes do not meet subs in person, I would say. You guys correct me if you feel like that's wrong, but from what I've seen, I don't feel like most people do meet people in real life. However, there are some that do real life sessions. I'm open to it. I have stipulations, obviously, that I would have before I would meet anybody in person, but I'm open to it just because I did work with a lot of people with various kinks and fetishes when I worked in clubs. So I've already been exposed to that. I'm very comfortable also with the type of career that I have. I have to see people, how do I say this? I have to help people with a lot of very intimate things in my professional career. So like I'm comfortable seeing people naked and that type of thing. It doesn't really bother me. So like I said, I'm open to it, but I feel like most people probably don't, would not be. One thing that a lot of financial dominatrixes do is cash meets where they'll just meet in an ATM and then the sub hands over money. So, you know, that's, I don't know if that really doesn't count as a session necessarily, but they do cash meets. B says, you'll be living the high life off my own money, going on holidays, restaurants, enjoying good food. Jealous. You'll have to send me some pictures. So I don't know, BC, I don't know if you've served me before, but I will say one thing you should not do with financial dominatrixes is make promises that you don't intend to keep. It is very unattractive for people to just kind of fantasy play and talk about things that they want to do like they're going to do it and then not actually follow through. I've had several subs do that and it's incredibly annoying. Actions speak louder than words, and I'll believe you when I actually see it. How's that? Arisu says, sorry, it's jumping around. How do I become a 24/7 stay-at-home sub? I would love it so much. I can cook and clean pretty well. Are you talking about being a live-in sub? Is that what you mean? MN. Do you have hit woman RP, miss? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Somebody over here is demanding attention. Okay, BC is over here fantasizing. He goes on to say, well, I'll be slaving away earning money for you and having to eat dog food, cat food, my own poo, and my own urine. Wow, you're getting very extreme there. Nobody told you to do that. Clash, mistress. Clash says, mistress, I want a task. Well, I want $1 million, so. Ben, hello to you. Hello. Oh, Overlord is asking how old I am. We both talked about this. Anybody can let him know in the chat how old I am. Lucky Dog says stop smoking. I don't know what that means because I don't smoke, but okay. Nero is wondering if it's an ice pack. No, it is the opposite. It is a heating pad. Okay. Gateship says, you guys have lots of questions today, and I like that because I didn't really have anything planned today. So this is good. Gateship says, do you think it is ethically okay to sell desperate lonely men a pseudo relationship which is only happening in their heads? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but I would say that any kink dynamic, there should always be a conversation beforehand to some extent about kinks and what the dynamic is going to look like, any limits that people have, and what to expect, and then knowing that you can communicate with the dominant or submissive outside of kink and establish boundaries and limits and all that. So I hope that answers your question. If not, you can send another question. Kant says, I just joined the chat. I'm curious to know what the career you're talking about. Nero answers your question about my age, and he remembers that I am 43. Yes, I just turned 43 a week and a half ago. Nero says, it's cold in Florida. Yes, it's like 30 degrees or something today. And it's very windy, very cold wind. You look so happy right now. Fluffy puppy. KM is pissed that nobody has provided my shoe size. I am disappointed that nobody remembers my shoe size. Nobody remembers my shoe size? Come on, people, get it together. I will give you 5 more seconds in the chat to answer what my shoe size is. You can guess, but KM needs to know. Hey, swinging chilies in the house. Oh, Nero, you were so close, but you're incorrect. He guessed 9. I don't do European sizes, people. We're talking about US sizes. Nero was close. He said 9.5, and I am a 9. I am a 9. Sometimes at 8.5 if they're kind of loose shoes. Arisu says, yes, a live-in sub. Is that even a thing? It would be amazing. I don't know shoe size, but I know you love s'mores. He remembers my favorite food. Thank you for that. Yes, size 9, not 9.5. 9 in US. Michael says, this is my first live chat. I wasn't here for the last one when the shoe size was revealed. Well, now you know, because I just revealed it again. Oh, Nero thought we were talking about his shoe size. No, nobody cares about your shoe size. They were asking about mine. MN says, do you like leather knee boots? Oh, yes, I do. I love thigh-high boots, especially for like pole dancing and stuff. But even out, I do have one pair of thigh-high boots. And then I do love knee-high boots. I love ankle boots too. I really like all boots that I can think of. Although the problem is being in Florida, we just, we have like 2 weeks where we can wear them, unfortunately. But I do have lots of cute boots that I like. I actually just bought 2 pairs of knee-high boots. One is like a caramel suede color, and then the other one is like a black leather color. Okay. TMI. I feel like I skipped over somebody else's question. Oh yeah, live-in sub. We were going to talk about that. Yeah, a live-in sub is a thing. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm pretty particular about people that I let into my personal space, especially like in my house, and haven't had the best luck with roommates. I've had some great roommates, but I've had some really bad ones too. So for a live-in sub for me, I feel like it would have to be somebody who has served me for a long time, who has also served me in person, who I felt like I really trusted and got along with before I would let them live in my house. That's just me. But it would be nice to have somebody around to do the dishes and clean my grill. I really hate cleaning the grill. That's like my least favorite thing to do. I don't mind doing laundry. I hate putting the laundry away. But the problem with me is I'm so particular about how I do things, a lot of things, that I would almost rather do it myself than have somebody else do it, because I just don't want to have to be bothered telling them how to do it and then correcting them if they don't do it correctly, if that makes sense. If you want stuff done the right way, you just got to do it yourself. MN says, Boots is very into femdom. I'm not sure what you mean. I think what you mean is that boots are very much like a female domination thing, or a lot of subs like boots and female domination. And yes, I agree. Nero says, I know, but I got it mixed up with mine, and didn't you care before? I thought you asked us. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Oh, what is the length of your foot from heel to toe? I don't know. Is it more than 26 centimeters? I don't know. I'm not sure. Ew. Wow, what a weird and rude comment to make. I think you're a little off there, and I don't like your comment. Mr. Truth, you are getting banned from the channel. Larry says, is your birthday the 22nd? That's mine, mistress, from your women's... Oh, the wristwatch sub. What was I going to say? No, my birthday was the 19th. So I am the last day of Capricorn, so you must be an Aquarius. Ah, Nero says, get one of Elon's robots to do the chores. Well, I don't know, with his Tesla's recalled left and right, I don't know if I really want one of his robots floating around. Probably blow up or kill me or something, I don't know. Hello to Mohammed. And yes. Okay, so Mohammed says, did you come to Germany? No, I've never been to Germany. I've been to Italy. Would love to go back to Europe and Italy. I would love to go to Germany at some point. I'm half, my ancestry is half German, half Italian. And I just did like the ancestry test, which should tell me exactly where in Germany my family is originally from. So that would be interesting to check out. Nero says, other companies are building robots too. You have options. That's true. KM says, explain the rush or feeling that you get when you get a new sub. Hello to Mido. Mohammed said it is his dream to meet with you. I like that. Arisu says, that was a great answer, which is very important. It's just a dream scenario. Yeah, something to work towards. It's a possibility. I'm not saying no. KM says, I mean, how does it feel for you, the dynamic as soon as the man obeys? Obviously, you know, it's a thrill. It's empowering. And I think with most people who enjoy control and power, when somebody gives you a little bit of control and power, then you want more. So I do like to push boundaries. It's a fine line between, you know, obviously I want to know somebody's limits and boundaries, but it's also a little fun to test them a little bit and see what you can get away with. I've always been a boundary pusher, to be honest with you. Even when I was little, I was constantly annoying my sister and pushing her limits until I got a reaction because I thought it was funny. So not much has changed, really. Not much has changed. I do love to push the boundaries. Muhammad says, Goddess, I know you for a very long time. Yes, we go way back. KM says, can you explain why? I like to hear that the findom will ruin me, and no, I am not a big CEO with control over people. KM, I don't know much about you personally. The only thing I will say is I do not do kink play in the live streams here. I don't do any kind of kink play for free, obviously. So when people are asking me if I'm going to give them tasks or trying to get me to feed into their kinks or fetishes, I'm not going to do that here on the live stream. I'm not quite sure if that's what you're asking, but I'm not going to do that. Nero says, I don't like to be in control of anything. I want a stress-free life. Don't we all want low stress? Arusu says, what did the ancient woman say when a lion ate his wife? Gladiator. I don't know. KM says that was a real question, but okay. All right, let me go back to it. Let me see. Can you explain why I like to hear that findom will ruin me? So I think you're asking me why I think that you have a financial ruin fantasy. Is that what you're asking? I think that's what you're asking. Tristan is asking me if I'm having a good day today. I'm having an excellent day. I just got back from the gym. I'm getting the puppy some cuddles. He looks pretty happy about it right now. It's cold here, so he's always looking for body warmth when it's chilly, right? Even though you got all this fur, which you're getting all over my shirt, thank you. KM, you can answer me if that was your question, if you're asking me why you have a financial ruin fantasy. Is that what you're trying to ask me? Let's see, what else is what are you going to talk about? Yeah, so Lady Cop video, I talked about the session that I did with the sub, and I have another, oh, that's what I was going to say. The sub that bought me the handcuffs has an inmate fantasy, I guess you could say. He has a fantasy of being controlled by like a female, what is the word I'm looking for? Female officer, I guess. Like, there's a word for it. What are the people that work in prisons? Somebody help me out here. I'm having a brain fart. And then I'll go back to KM's question. Nero says, I have a fantasy of being financially well off, but the Bitcoin thing didn't work out. Well, you know, Bitcoin's risky. You gotta, when I first got interested in trading, I was trying to trade cryptos, but for me, I feel like it moves fast, but it also moves kind of slow. And for me, day trading was more my thing. So I do day trading stocks. Crypto's a little too slow moving for me. You really have to be watching it all the time, which sounds annoying. Warden. Yes. Good. Warden. So my sub has a fantasy of being controlled by a female warden, I guess you could say. There's another word for it I'm thinking of, but I can't think of it right now. So I made a video for him, and I was sending him little clips of it yesterday, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So I'll probably post that video to the YouTube as well, is my point. Within the next week or two, after I send him the whole thing. And Overlord is asking if I have kids. No, I just have this fur child right here. I do not have any children. To answer KM's question, why would someone ruin fantasy? I'm trying to think. I'll have to research that a little bit because I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think it goes along the lines of, you know, enjoying humiliation and degradation. I would say more. Why are you making weird noises? Maybe a little bit more on the degradation side, as it's kind of creating like a hierarchy of view. No, I don't know. I'll have to research a little bit more, but I feel like it is kind of degradation along the lines of humiliation, which is psychological masochism. So part of BDSM, you know, sadism means that you enjoy inflicting pain. Masochism means that you enjoy receiving pain. And if you enjoy humiliation, that's what I would consider psychological masochism, that you enjoy the psychological pain. So I feel like it's along those lines. But I don't know enough about you in particular, why you developed that kink or have that kink. Usually it's from something in childhood or adolescence. I don't know enough about you we could always do an interview and figure it out. Let's see. Do you have many subs that you know that do they keep it secret from their partner? I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I am always very against cheating or hiding things from your partner. Even when I worked in clubs, I don't go out of my way to ask if people have a partner, wife, or girlfriend. But if they bring it up, if they tell me that they're not being honest with their person, I always encourage them to be honest. And if they have relationship problems, to see a therapist. I do always believe that you should be open with your partner, and if you are not comfortable being open with your partner, then you probably shouldn't have one, is my opinion. My thoughts on that. I am not into lying, cheating, that kind of thing with somebody that you're with. I'm not personally into polyamory, but that is one thing that I really respect about polyamory, is that it's people who have multiple partners and they're all open about having multiple partners. You know, I always think that's better than cheating on somebody, or, you know, having like two separate families that you're lying to. I'm just very against lying and keeping things from your partner. That's just my opinion. So like I said, I'm not going to go out of my way to ask if somebody has a partner or whatever, but I'm always, if they bring it up, I'm always going to encourage people to do the right thing. I did recently have a sub who has a wife, and she's aware that he has these kinks and that he deals with professional doms, and he had mentioned me maybe dominating both of them. I was totally open to that. I thought that would be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out. He wasn't a good fit for me, vice versa. So, but I'm open to it. Let me see what else we've got here. Things, but in real, what do I do? Oh. Mohammed says, Goddess, why when I see femdom videos, I feel like I really like many things, but in real life, when I try to do that with Mistress, I can't do everything I see. Do you mean that you enjoy watching it, and then when you try to go do it, you don't enjoy it? Or your mistress isn't willing to do the things that you see? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Oh, Bob says, oh my God, I don't know what it is about you, but I'm absolutely hooked. Do you ever do smaller debt contracts? So I've been very frustrated with the people who have signed up for my debt contracts, except for Sissy Katie did a great job, and Aurelia from a couple months ago also did a great job. But the rest of you suck. I'm at a point where I'm not doing debt contracts with anyone anymore until you've served me for a few weeks and you've shown me that you can actually stick with something. And then I'm happy to write a contract up for you. But I'm really tired of people wanting a debt contract and going through all the trouble of writing a contract up, gathering all the information I need to do it, and then people dipping out after a couple weeks. I'm over it. So if you want a contract, you can serve me for a few weeks first and prove that you can do that. So, you know, if you're talking about a smaller debt contract, I would suggest either a session or serving me for, you know, a few weeks to see if it's something that you want to keep doing, is what I would suggest. John says, I'll pay you to paint my doghouse. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's very strange. Okay. KM says, what if you developed the findom habit, or kink, I would say, long after being married? Is findom cheating? I guess it kind of depends on what kind of dynamic you're exploring with the person, the dom that you have a thing with. But I know for me personally, and I think most women, especially if it was a marriage, would not be too happy about a man sending money to another woman. So do with that what you will, but I would say most women would not be cool with that. Nero says, that is the good way to be. You seem reasonable. Overlord says, you are beautiful. Thank you for that. MN sent me a 50-cent super thanks, which is enough to not even buy a pack of gum. And he says, can you order me to shut up? No, I just said I don't do kink play in my live streams, and especially not for 51 cents. That is incredibly insulting. KM says, where does one reach out to do an interview with you, and will that be just an interview? Small debt contract will be interesting. So you can go on my channel and look at the other interviews that I've done. I would really like to focus more on interviewing financial submissives, pay pigs, people who are into financial domination versus the other kinks. I've done people with lots of different kinks, and I would like to focus more on strictly financial submissives at this point. You can go on my profile. There's links to all my social media platforms, adult platforms. You can contact me on any of those platforms and we can talk about it. I do not require a tribute to, or anything like that, or payment or anything to do an interview. It's just something that I do out of curiosity and because I find it interesting and a lot of the subscribers enjoy it, and get a lot out of it as well. But I do expect you to respect my time. If we schedule an interview and you end up canceling, I probably will not schedule with you again. Mohammed says, I enjoy when I see it, when I try it, I really have been and I can't do it. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I think what you're saying is you maybe watch things that you have that seem fun, and then when you go to do them, you don't like them. I feel like that's fairly normal. I mean, there's a lot of stuff when I watch porn that I enjoy watching, but I would never personally do. I also have boundaries and just like ethical, moral reasons why I would never do them, but I do find it interesting to watch. Sometimes, you know, it's okay to watch something and be interested in it, but you don't have to go try everything, you know? Maybe really think about ahead of time what that would feel like, or, you know, how you would react to it, or how you would feel after you do something, and think about if that's really something that you want to do and engage in. I think especially asking yourself, how am I going to feel after I do that? Am I going to feel worse about myself? Then it's probably not something you should do. There is definitely a difference between fantasy and reality. You have to remember that. Fantasy does not always have to be reality. What kind of money is TRY Turkey? You're asking the wrong person. But there's some currencies that people send, like this one, it says $22 in Turkey, and it's like 51 cents in US. So I think sometimes people are trying to fool me with how much they're sending by doing different currencies. I don't know, or maybe that's the currency in their country. I don't really know. But yeah, there's certain currencies where they come through and it's like 20, 30, 100, 200, and it's like, you know, $1, $2. So, KM enjoys my answers. Dawn says, do you face sit for money? And the answer is no. KM says, you are like so amazing. Thank you for that. Mohammed appreciates my answer. Nero is still confused by the currency. I don't know. I just look it up on ChatGPT currencies to tell me how much they are. But it also shows me on my end how much the tip is that comes through. Do I trample? Yes. Yes, I do. But once again, I'm only open to doing real life sessions with subs who have served me online first, who I feel like I can trust, who have done a full background check. Like I said, I have stipulations to meeting people in person. I'm not just going to meet some random weirdo off the internet with no safeguards in place, because obviously that's not very smart. Arisu says, my knees hurt because he's been kneeling this whole time. Well, you only have 5 minutes left, so suck it up, buttercup, is what I say to you. Don't be such a baby. You're not an 80-year-old man. I can't remember how old you are, but you're not old. so you can suffer a little longer. Michael comes through with more of a real super chat of $10. Thank you for that. And he says, here's a cup of coffee or tea or a drink to make up for the tribute earlier. So he felt the need to make up for the 51-cent tribute, which is an appropriate response. Thank you for that. And the rest of you could learn a thing or two from him. I have these really thick socks on right now. Oh, I don't know what that is. But my toes are still cold. After I get off here, I'm turning on the heater. I think Doggy will be happy about that. Won't you, Mama? He is not thrilled about the idea of bringing that cat in here. I can tell you that. He's not happy about it. Although I had a cat when I got you. When you were a puppy. You probably don't remember because you're an old man now. And I think he's starting to have doggy dementia. But that's okay. You're starting to have a little sundowners, aren't you, Bubba? Huh? The fat old doggy now. Yes, you are. Look at that double chin. Look at that. It's double chin all over the place. Okay, so upcoming, let's see what we have. Oh, I forgot to mention this. So, exciting news. I looked at the calendar. Friday? Today's the 1st. I think it's Friday. Maybe it's Saturday. Whatever the 6th is my 1-year anniversary of doing financial domination, which is very exciting. 1-year anniversary is coming up. That's right. So I will be doing a video being very upfront and honest about the amount of money I've made each month and the total year that I've been doing this, and just a general video about how everything's been going, all that kind of stuff. So that will be one video I'm doing. I also need to do a sub update video and update you because I've kind of cycled through subs. A lot of the old subs are gone. I have some old subs that will come back periodically, and then I've got a bunch of new subs now, so we'll talk about them a little bit. And then I mentioned this in the last video, but the next role play videos I have are going to be, I made a like lady boss / mean teacher. I kind of like combined the characters, I guess you could say, into a short video. And then I'll have to see how much I can post that on YouTube. Some of that may not be appropriate for YouTube. And then I also did like I said, the inmate warden, I guess you could say, video. So I'll be posting those soon. Sub update, my 1-year summary of financial domination. Let's see what else you're saying here. What would be my costume for what? KM says, what is the timeline for the typical growth of a sub from starting to reaching a decent level? Interesting question. And what I would say for me is, I would say a month is a good trial period of a sub to see how well they follow directions, if they make tributes on time, if they complete tasks that they're given. Kind of a 1 month is a good trial period to see if they're ready for ownership. I've only had 2 people in the year that I've been doing this make it to 1 month, which is really pathetic, honestly. And I'll get into that in a second too, but that's kind of how I work. So if you have good behavior, you've made tributes, you've pleased me, you've done well with your tasks, after a month, I offer ownership. And then that's kind of an ongoing dynamic from there. I think in both situations, the people that I offered ownership to had changes of employment and could no longer afford to serve me. So they might come back later once things calm down. I don't know. They were both very good subs. They know who they are. And they are welcome to come back. But the problem is, if you leave for a couple months, you're basically starting from scratch again. So that is the only problem. So I would say a month is a good time to see if somebody's a good sub for me, following directions, all that stuff. So, and KM, you retracted your question, but I already answered it. So too late, you can't take it back. You offer ownership of what? So ownership is kind of like the term that we use for an ongoing DS, dominant submissive relationship. So ownership means that there's certain rules that they have to follow. There's certain maybe rituals that have been established. It's just an ongoing dynamic. So it's not just like a brand new sub or a sub that comes and goes. Like I have one sub who reaches out to me about once every month or so on LF, and we do a session. An owned sub is someone who has regular contact with me, is making regular payments, and is completing various levels of slave training, I would say. That's what ownership is. What does ownership cover? No. You can wait. What exactly do you mean? Come here. Come here. Stop barking. Come here. You can wait like 5 minutes. Come here. Come on. Go up your stairs. Up the stairs. Come here. Just chill out for a couple minutes, okay? You're fine. I know it's almost time for dinner. I think you got enough to live off here for a little while, chunky monkey. He doesn't like it when I body shame him. Oh, Nero says, I thought you said if they complete tasks, they get ownership. Maybe I misunderstood. Like I said, ownership is, there's a bunch of factors that go into ownership. Like I said, making regular tributes, at least a month of ongoing interaction, good behavior, completing tasks is an example of good behavior. So does that make sense? And then let's see, what else do I have for you guys? I'll be back live on Thursday, 9 to 10 p.m. I might even go live tomorrow or Thursday evening if I have time. What's today? Sunday. I will probably do a live stream workout either tomorrow morning or Tuesday on my fitness channel, if you enjoy that. Some of you have been joining me for the live stream workouts, which has been kind of fun. Dawn, you said, and what would be your costume? I don't know what you're talking about. A costume for what? You asked a question, now you're demanding an answer, and I don't understand your question. Nero says, how did you learn about all this? The internet, research, lots of research. I enjoy learning about, if I find something and I don't know about it, I will take the time to learn about it. I love learning about lots of different things. So I just do a lot of research on various platforms. And what do we got here? Anastali says, how are you, goddess? As always, you are so beautiful. Thank you for that. Oh. MN says, what is your favorite character, miss? I don't know what that means. What do you mean, favorite character? Dawn says, I wanted to ask about getting kicked on face in a real session. Will it be possible? For you, honestly, probably not. I don't really like your approach and your attitude, to be honest. I posted on one of my social media platforms about this recently, and I put a list of what I look for, what I like in a sub. And what I like in a sub is someone who is interested in my well-being and improving my life and making my life easier. Someone who is responsive. And one of the things I said I do not like is people who could just come around and dump all their wants on me. If you are sitting here just talking about your kinks, which are obviously face sitting and being trampled on, then you're not interested in serving me. You're interested in serving yourself. So you are someone who has submissive kinks, but you are not what I would consider a submissive. Because the submissives that are loyal to me, that are good submissives, actually care about me and what I want. That's the difference. Arisu, I can already tell you, has been a great submissive. He is very obedient. He is very polite, respectful. When you come around and you're demanding that I answer your questions, that's not respectful and it's annoying. So maybe you could take a lesson from Arisu. You should be sorry. Arisu says, why is there not a fin sub for rich people to send me money? Niche in the market. Why is there not a fin sub? I'm not sure what you mean. Don says he's really disappointed with himself. You should be. I hope you learned something. You know, it's not all about you. If you're just wanting a dom to satisfy your kinks, then you should go to a club, or you should go online to doms that deal with subs like that, because I don't. That's not what I like in my subs. Hello to Sissy Kimmy, aka Ching Chong. Good to see you, friend. And hello to Pan. Oh, Jordan Ellis, you are so in the wrong room right now. He says, shake some buns, I will gift. No. I do not, I will not do that. Don says, should I get out of here? No, you're welcome to stay. You do whatever you want. I'm just very direct. That's my personality. And if you do something that I don't like, I'm going to tell you. I'm not angry. I'm annoyed. It takes a lot to make me angry, honestly. But it sounded like somebody needed to put you in your place, and I'm happy to do that. So Pan says, I can never resist the snap of his fingers. Of whose fingers? Do you mean her fingers? Because I'm a woman, so it'd be her. But maybe English isn't your first language, which is okay. I know if English isn't your first language, sometimes that's a little tricky. Don says, I really am sorry, goddess. I wish I had known better. Well, apologizing is the first step. I accept your apology, and we will move forward from here. I don't dwell on grievances, or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's just a G. It's lost. Jordan is in trouble. Yes, he is. Nero wants to know what makes me angry. Why? Are you going to try to make me angry? Hello from Canada. Hello, Stanlot. I want to apologize on behalf of our country right now. And Asali says, you should feel comfortable during the session, and you should do what pleases you, not me. Correct. Nero, what makes me angry? Things that really get my blood boiling is especially vulnerable people being bullied, people being rude, poor manners. That's more irritating. I can't think of, I'm not really like an angry person. And the older I get, I feel like I'm very good at not letting things bother me for the most part. There might be things that maybe like irritate me a little bit, but it's not really something that really gets under my skin. Unless, like I said, it's something like, you know, people making fun of somebody or somebody getting bullied. That kind of stuff will make me very angry. And I will get very defensive. Arusu says, hope you managed to rest and that your dog enjoys its meal. Thank you for taking the time to respond to my questions. So I just want to use Arisu as an example right now. He is one of my newer subs. And as you can see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. He's very interested in my well-being, and he cares about how my life is going. These are the types of subs that I really enjoy. So thank you for that, Arisu, for being a good example. And I look forward to interacting with you more. Dawn says, Goddess, what are some things that make you happy, like any shopping list? Dawn, I do have wish lists. I don't know how much I can talk about them here, but all my links are on my profile. I don't know if I can mention where they are, what the name of the wish lists are, but they are on there. You should be able to find them. Yes. Gifts always make me happy, of course. Nero says, I got bullied, so I appreciate that. You are a nice person. I like you. Thank you. Yes, I also got bullied when I was a young child. So that is definitely where that part of my personality comes from. I can tell you that. I absolutely cannot stand to see other people being bullied or harassed without any reason. Or people being mean to animals, of course, that's terrible too, as I'm looking at his little face in the mirror. Even though he's not always sweet like this, I can tell you that. I can tell you that. He is, I've told you, very vicious sometimes. Okay, we've gone a little bit over now, so I will go ahead and end there. I will be back live Thursday evening, and I have some more videos coming up soon. So thank you guys for joining me. And I will see you, as I kick the stand. And Dawn wants to know, how do I like to be addressed? Goddess, ma'am, or lady? It is goddess. Okay, have a wonderful evening. Bye, sissy.